Welcome to the PropTech Podcast. It's Kylie Davis here, and I'm delighted to be your host as we explore the brave new world where technology and real estate collide. I passionately believe we need to create and grow a sense of community between the innovators and real estate agents, and sharing our stories is a great way to do that. Now, the aim of each episode is to introduce listeners to a PropTech innovator who is pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and to explore the issues and challenges raised by the tech and how they create amazing property experiences. And my guest in this episode is Anton Babkov from RexLabs, one of the new generation real estate solution providers. Now, RexLabs has a series of products based around a truly mobile CRM that help agents stay connected with their clients and maximize their relationships. Now, each of the products snap together and all will play very nicely with other solutions out in market to manage things like social media marketing, lead generating websites, back-end automations, and property management coming soon. Now, Anton is a bit of a boy genius, I'm told. He used to code tech solutions when he was in high school for his mum, Lana, who worked in a real estate office with an agent called Damien Merchant. And he went on to a career in law, but fast forward 20 years, and Lana now runs RexLabs' sales team, and Damien heads Spoke.io, which is the social solution that is part of Rex. So here to tell us all about it, Anton Babkov, welcome to the PropTech Podcast.
Thanks, Kylie.
Great to have you. Yeah. So Anton, what's the RexLabs elevator pitch? Because you're more than just a CRM, but give us the quick pitch.
Yeah, wow, God, that's on the spot. Look, we build solutions for the real estate sector. So we started off with Rex, our CRM, but now we've expanded into advertising. So we do property advertising with Spoke. Spoke has around 1,500 users after being in market for about 18 months across Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. So that's listing advertising and brand advertising for real estate agencies. We have Rex and Pocket, our cloud-based and mobile CRM. We have SiteLoft, which is a website provider. All of these products, by the way, sort of stand independently and they stand alone. So we have a ton of clients that are on SiteLoft that use other CRMs like AgentBox or Zenue. And then the fourth sort of piece of product that we have in our portfolio that we've been working on for the last 3 years is Alfred, which is our property management product. So that's not in market yet. That's slated to come into market in the second half of this year. But yeah, we've tried to. I guess the exposure with Rex, which was our original product, has given us a lot of insight into the way that the market operates, and we've tried to solve problems that we've seen in that market by releasing some standalone products, and it's been really exciting.
So how is Rex differentiate itself from other CRMs in the market? Because it is a pretty hotly contested space.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think a couple of key things. Probably the first is the breadth and depth of our mobile CRM. So Pocket, which is used by a majority of our customer base, does a lot of the things that you'd expect, or that have kind of come to be expected by things like Home Pass. So open home registrations and so on, but it's so much more than that. It's a fully featured real estate CRM. So anything that a salesperson would want to do out of the office, in the office, they can do via Pocket. So when we went to build Pocket, we thought, okay, we'll build a contacts app, so that people can access their contacts, and maybe an open home register so that they can register people going to their open homes. But what we did before we built the app was we ran a survey of our customers, and we found that this was about 2 or 3 years ago. We found that they spent, in particular, salespeople spent 60 to 70% of their day outside of the office. Now that's time that a CRM is not reaching an agent, and that an agent isn't entering data into the CRM, or that an agent isn't completing reminders when they've got a spare moment, or an agent isn't able to, so we have one of the cool things about Pocket. We have caller ID that pulls in data from the CRM, so that when someone calls you, you know who they are. You can add a note on the fly. You can send a contract or documents about a listing, and that's been really, really interesting. That our take up and usage levels of Pocket have increased over this crisis, with people essentially being able to run their whole operation from their phone as well as their laptop, being a cloud product. But that mobile experience, being able to, I was on a training session with Josh Fegan. He ran the Unmissable event. It was great marketing a couple of weeks ago. And one of the key bits of feedback is that these agents are running their lives and their days from their phones. So that mobile experience, and a comprehensive mobile experience, has really sort of come into its own during this period.
Yeah.
Probably another thing is the training piece. Best CRM is the one that you use. So having a product that having a product is great. Being able to train effectively on it and having an effective learning delivery system is really important. So Rexopoly, which was our on-site training package, is one of those things. But we also have something that we launched about 12 months ago, which is the Rex University. And Rex University is is basically a course. So everyone that comes into the product goes through that course, and that course trains them through all the basics, and then best practice that they need to get the best out of the product. So that's a pretty big thing. Another thing that's probably a big differentiator, particularly with the more sophisticated larger agencies that are more tech savvy or have developers on staff. Rex has hands down the best platform, best API, best automation of any product in this market or in the UK market. So there's a massive amount of differentiation there, particularly for agencies that are interested in programmatic automation or interested in deep integration of Rex, say, into their business intelligence systems. That's been massive for us, particularly as we've started to scale in the UK.
Right. So it sounds fantastic. So are you're doing AI-based automations, or what can you tell us about that?
So for us, we leave the AI-based automations probably to the Ritas of the world. So we do have an R&D program into propensity to buy. But most of our automation, so part of our work that we did going into the UK was build an enterprise-ready workflow engine, which powers 40 or 50 different workflows for some of our key large customers in the UK. Workflows, things like approvals for approval requests, reminders for things to happen at various points. There's just automating baseline workflows in an office. So if you think about Rex is a back office administration system. It's also a business generation system on the prospecting side, but particularly around the back office stuff. And as agencies are looking to reduce cost, that back office process automation is something that we're really, really, really interested in, and has already had pretty great take up in the UK.
And
as well as that, no, go on.
So I guess that combination of having your people out in the field, making it easy for them to do what they can on their phones, and then that back office automation, that becomes extraordinarily powerful, I imagine.
It's pretty important. If you've used things like Zapier, and that's an integration that we're working on as well. But Zapier is kind of an example of some of the things that our workflow engine is capable of. So it's not just automating an email to go out or automating a reminder for an SMS. All that's in the product as a default. This sort of goes beyond that, and it's particularly suited to agencies that are medium or large and have a bit of sophistication around their process.
Yeah. And I love the whole, I'm really interested in the whole mobile side of Rex, because for a long time, real estate agents have thought that being a mobile agent actually meant being an agent who used their mobile phone to make phone calls from their car. And we should be able to do so much more. Should be able to do so much more. So it's great to hear that. Anton, I'm really curious about the UK story. So while so many prop techs in Australia are kind of looking to the US as their market, what made you guys go into the UK?
Look, the US, particularly for CRM, is so different. So the US operates on completely different terms with God, what are they called? Not
MLSs.
MLSs. Yeah, God,
Yep.
the acronyms are the thing you really need to get across if you want to get into the US market. So their method of operation on the real estate side is quite different. So for us, Spoke is a really interesting market in terms of the US. So that's kind of more advertising. Advertising is the same everywhere around the world. Interestingly, property management is pretty similar in different jurisdictions. So the way that you manage a property in the US, subject to a few regulatory differences and accounting differences, the way that a property is managed is fairly consistent, but the way that property is sold is very, very different. So for us, our flagship product is Rex, and the UK market operates in many respects in a similar way to the way that the Australian market operates, and that was a big sort of advantage for us. The other great thing about going into the UK was we had a partner who reached out to us, wasn't satisfied with the scope of the solutions available in the UK market. So we had a partner who decided to come onto Rex after doing some DD. And we spent with them probably 18, 24 months building out localization. So we ran a joint venture essentially to localize the product and also to build out a suite of enterprise-ready functionality, especially suited to larger real estate agencies. So Spice of Heart, our partner, has 2,000 staff that are directly employed. So it's not a franchise, it directly employs 2,200 people. And we built with them to enable their tech team to be able to do some really interesting things, some really powerful enterprise functionality. So stuff around single view of a customer, the workflow engine that we were talking about, or that we've talked about, additional capabilities for scale in our API, some stuff around business intelligence, and that's made Rex really attractive to larger businesses, which is really great. But yeah, so we had a partner which was excellent. That partner co-invested with us, and also the UK market is probably the most suitable, or the most similar market of countries around the world compared to Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, benefits of being in the Commonwealth, I suppose. For almost 16 years, Direct Connect has made moving easy for over 1.2 million renters and homeowners by arranging connections to a wide range of services, from electricity and gas to internet and pay TV. With a national team of local account managers who are experts in the industry, they will be here to support your business, including competitive rewards for every successful connection. Direct Connect's industry-leading rewards program means partners will reap the benefits of the unique rewards program while adding value to your business. The connection process is simple, and Direct Connect's always-on guarantee ensures your customers' connections are always the top priority. They take care of your customers with guaranteed connections that ensure their services will be connected on the day they move in. A choice of a range of market-leading suppliers and peace of mind for everyone, with a local call centre contacting customers within 24 hours of receiving their application. Direct Connect has also made it easier than ever to send connections, recently integrating with MRI Software's Property Tree. In just a few clicks, while processing a tenancy, you can send the connection details through and get your customers connected. To make the right connection and find out how Direct Connect can make moving easy for you and easy for your customers, visit agents.directconnect.com.au or call 1300 558 169. For all information about the Always On Guarantee and full terms and conditions, visit directconnect.com.au/Always On Guarantee.
COVID's been interesting, hasn't it? I imagine you've spoken to a number of people, or am I the first one out of the gate?
No, I've spoken to a few. It has been really interesting because, every real estate agent who thought that they had forever to do this change and technology thing suddenly realised that, oh shit, they should have done it 2 years ago.
I mean, in terms of impact, we probably have felt initially, in particular, I guess everyone sort of went into panic mode. So, what's the most dire thing that could happen? And it kind of was. I think if the Australian government hadn't stepped in, everyone would be in a very different place right now. And we, because we have exposure to the UK, we kind of have a dark mirror alternate Black Mirror alternate reality kind of view on what could happen, what could have happened here had ScoMo and the state premiers not acted as quickly as they did, because the UK industry has been completely decimated.
Yes.
For a couple of reasons. One, all real estate related activity was banned. So no private inspections, obviously, I mean, auctions aren't so much of a feature there. No meetings. And because of the anti-money laundering requirements in the UK, also no capacity to list any new property.
Right.
So just from a regulatory standpoint, they've been at a complete dead stop. All settlements were stopped as well. So any cash flow that people were relying on were basically deferred. So a lot of the there's in the UK, time on market and settlement timeframes for properties mean that it can take a property as long as 6 months from listing or longer to actually sell or to actually settle. So big cash flow impact there. And they as well have been furloughed. So they're with us with JobKeeper. The great thing about JobKeeper is you get JobKeeper if you've had a revenue impact, and your staff can keep working. It's kind of like a macroeconomic signal to keep working. Whereas in the UK, people can't work while they're furloughed. So the government in the UK will contribute up to 80% of a person's salary, up to a certain bracket, but they can't be working. So agencies over there kind of have this all or nothing decision where they either work or they don't. So all of them, or the majority of the ones that we kind of speak to, have not. So lots of their staff have been out of work. They've had nothing to do. I mean, they get they're drawing a wage of some sort. It won't be an extraordinary wage, but it'll be a wage, which is amazing and something to be grateful for. But I think in Australia we've been extraordinarily lucky. Even with the way that the government in each of the states and federally has approached regulating real estate activity. So we haven't seen that cash flow hit. So most of the customers that I'm speaking to, and I've been speaking to a lot over the last couple of months, they've seen listings drop, increasing or settlements drop 30, then 40, then 50, then 60%. But they haven't seen a dead stop in revenue, which has been really really interesting, really surprising. Probably the other thing that we've seen is, you're right, everyone kind of came out of the gates. Let's do all the things that we always wanted to do, and then the enthusiasm kind of flags pretty quickly.
Yes.
So we thought probably a week as we were locking down, we thought we need to try and take advantage of this as much as we can. And also, we were thinking, God, are our customers actually going to pay the bill? I had a couple of we rely on recurring revenue in the same way as real estate agents rely on their rent roll revenue. And I remember waking up with having had a nightmare that none of our clients were able to pay, and I couldn't pay my staff. So it's pretty traumatic. But what we thought, one of the pieces of value that we could really add, because people were going to have less activity day to day, or that's what we expected, and in particular in New Zealand where they did lock down and ceased a lot of activity, we launched a training package. So we normally deliver a training package, an on-site training package, which costs about $3,000, delivered over 2 days on-site at an agency. We run an equivalent workshop in each of the states, but we decided to take that and put it all online. So we turned it into a game, gave away prizes, and we had 25% of our user base register for that, and attendance at sort of 50 or 60%. And we're talking about an hour and a half long sessions times 8 sessions over a fortnight, and it was incredible the number of people that turned up and got a ton of value out of it. I think it was interesting, the best CRM. One of the real estate trainers, I can't remember, says the best CRM is the one that you use.
There's a lot to say that.
Yeah. One of the really interesting things we found was a lot of our customers hadn't understood the breadth of functionality that was available in Rex. And once they had, their eyes kind of popped open, and there was a massive amount of enthusiasm for all the things that they could do in terms of customer contact, in terms of automation. And those things are going to be pretty important as the market turns. And as we face a ton of uncertainty over the next 6-12 months.
So tell me a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit about Spoke and the problems that it's solving, and also your SiteLoft. What are the key issue? What are the pain points that agents are experiencing in that digital marketing space that you guys are solving?
Yeah, so great question, Kylie. There's a couple of spaces that Spoke operates in. So the first, which is probably the most the one that agents will be most familiar with, is listing advertising. So there's a really exciting and really interesting shift that's going on where people are recognizing the power and capability of social media advertising and digital display advertising, specifically through the Facebook network and the Google network for advertising property. So, this has been happening for the last sort of 18, 24, maybe 36 months if you're a real innovator, a little bit earlier in the US market. But a big and really interesting shift, and the agents that are thinking about it are getting some really interesting outcomes. So we have a customer that during COVID has stopped, I won't mention names, but has stopped doing any realestate.com marketing because their sellers are cost sensitive and they're hesitant about putting property on market and spending big dollars. But what they are willing to do is spend $250, $300 with Spoke, put up a for sale board, and that's their entire marketing. And this particular agency has done this across the board with their listings, and they found that they've been having the same or greater level of inquiry as they were getting through realestate.com.
Wow.
So yeah, really, really, really fascinating. So it's real results, real outcomes. You're capturing people that aren't necessarily consciously in market, or maybe people that are in market but haven't picked up the property when they've been searching, where they've been actively searching. Not everyone's got time to spend every minute of every day searching on realestate.com or domain. Yeah. And it's interesting, I don't have the stats to hand, but if you look at the amount of time that people spend searching for property, it might be 10 minutes on average a day across the entire population of the country. When you're talking about total time spent on social networks or total time spent on internet, you're going from 3 to 6 hours a day. And with COVID, it's even higher. So that's, really fascinating transition and fascinating shift potentially, in the way that people find property. Yeah. So that's the first. No, go on.
But there's a couple of key things that are playing out here, aren't there? I mean, like a lot of the newspapers have closed down from their print editions, so that traditional, typical way that agents can or have always typically advertised is now no longer available to them. But also, but what we're seeing too with social media is that it's replacing what Tom Panos used to say about print, which was it captures a passive audience. So you didn't know that you were in the property market, but having been stuck at home for like 8 to 10 weeks, going crazy inside your four walls to see suddenly in your Facebook feed that a house around the corner that you've always kind of looked at the corner of your eye and gone, gee, that's nice. If that suddenly becomes available, bang, you're in the market.
Yeah, so it's that audience, but it's also because of the way that that Facebook and Google's targeting works with in-market audiences. It's the audience that isn't in market, but also the audience that is in market, and it's also showing people the properties that they are most likely to be interested in based on their income bracket, based on their on their purchasing intention. Are they in market for property? Have they visited realestate.com? That's one of the factors that comes into, or search for realestate.com. That's one of the factors that comes into the audiences that we build up for our customers to use when they advertise with Spoke.
Right. So Spoke makes that super easy from an agent. You don't need to be able to use Ad Manager. What does the back end of that?
No Ad Manager. No Facebook.
Hallelujah.
No AdWords. No Business Manager. Nothing. So literally, some of our customers, it takes them 4 clicks, and they've got an ad, which takes a process that, it's not just the ad, it's the ad format. So, we do 30, 40 odd ad variants. We distribute it across all the networks. We optimize the campaigns, and we also leverage, because of the volume of campaigns, or the volume of different campaign formats. We leverage Facebook and Google's AI and targeting capability to choose the campaigns or to allocate budgets to the campaigns that will work the best, and all of that, for 4 clicks. So some people will customize the audiences or choose to direct Spoke to their own landing page or change the default content. But those that are just pushing through content, we have customers that advertise every single listing through, and a number of customers in Australia that advertise every single listing through Spoke by default. And they'll splat, it's part of their default VPA budget. They'll slap 250, 500. We've got customers that spend $2,000, $5,000 per listing through Spoke, and they go with the defaults. Some people are more sophisticated, and they'll get dedicated landing pages. Although Spoke comes with dedicated landing pages, that's one of the really big differentiators of Spoke compared to other products in market is the capacity to control the experience that customers have when they land on a page. So you can advertise as much as you want. If you've got a terrible website that doesn't perform, having an experience that's been optimized and is continuously optimized to improve conversion, to improve throughput, is probably a key differentiator for Spoke.
Right. Okay. And how do agents feel about that? Because so is it the ability for agents who might be of the mindset when they start out that, no, I want to drive everything back to my website. It's got to go back to my website, which is kind of the right way to be thinking digitally. But if their website's not converting properly, it's better to have a landing page which is optimizing all the intelligence that's coming through from every single person that clicks on it. And does that then lead them to go, actually, I need a better website now? Which is where SiteLoft comes in.
Well, yeah, that's where SiteLoft comes in. To be honest, even SiteLoft isn't as optimized for the particular use case that Spoke audiences have. So if you imagine,
well, that's the benefit of landing pages, isn't it? That's why you want them.
Yeah, well, this is right. So for us, we're agnostic. We believe that Spoke will have better results and better tracking if you direct your visitors to our landing pages. We optimize them. We optimize them for speed, for usability. We optimize them for eye lines and conversion and so on. So in that respect, they're fit for purpose, and the purpose is to generate an inquiry about a particular property that someone's indicated they're interested in. A website is different. A website might be to attract sellers. It might be to give someone, a way to find rental properties that you have. It might be to sort of demonstrate your knowledge of the market, and that's where the second part of Spoke sort of comes in. So a lot of the core work that we've done, and most of our competitors in market have done over the last probably 2-3 years, has been focused highly, exclusively almost on property. because property pays. In some respects, there's a moral hazard because the agents are, who do a good job, capture VPA and capture a good amount of VPA, and then reap the benefits when they get inquiries and they get some collateral brand exposure. But the thing that no one's really solved effectively is the branding piece. Is the prospecting piece. How do you prospect with advertising in this way? How do you position yourself as a person that can get the job done? And through the various stages of the funnel. So for people that might just generally need to be made aware, to people that might need some information or resources, right down through to people that are looking for an agent and serendipitously, come across a testimonial campaign or a just sold campaign. So that side of things, the prospecting and business generation side is something that we've been working on for the last 12 months. And interestingly, that feature set that we've been working on is starting to come to market at the same time as the market in Australia is turning and people are looking to work out where they're going to get their business.
Yes, yeah. I know from personal experience that's where Home Prezzo's playing a bit more of a role in creating that collateral that can help you do all of that digitally.
Yeah, and that's a big problem, that content problem. What's that? No, great plug. Home Prezzo is a great example, and that, a lot of the customers that we talk to, their biggest challenge is content. How do I know what content to create? How do I know how to write it? How do I know if there's going to be an audience for it? So like some really interesting tools like Home Prezzo solve a great issue at that middle of the funnel or the top of the funnel where people are looking for information. The great thing about Spoke is that we're kind of the distribution for that sort of content. So if you have content or you partner with someone like Home Prezzo as an agent, then you need to be able to distribute that. So that's where that's where Spoke comes in. And then for the people that don't know content and just want something that's simple, that's also where Spoke comes in, because we allow you to do. Simple example, right? So the Victorian government, the REIV either banned or recommended a ban of letterbox drops in the last few weeks. Now, I'm not sure if that's changed or lifted, but how many agents would do just sold campaigns? How many agents how many trees have been killed by the volume of just sold flyers or just listed
sold,
flyers? But I won't
tell you what the price was.
Yeah, well, that's it. Ask me what the price is. And this is the thing, right?
No, just tell me.
So those types of campaigns, I want to know. Well, this is the thing. You plug into people's curiosity, and you plug into people's curiosity, and you have a basis to form a relationship with them. So you add some value to them. So they want some information. You give them that information. You add value, and you start forming a relationship with them. And that's kind of how we see Spoke is that first. And maybe the second point of forming a relationship. Once that relationship is formed, that's where Rex takes over, and that relationship management on an ongoing basis can happen. It's really interesting. I recently went to training for one of the major franchise groups, and one of the key things that they talked about was the value of a contact with and without a relationship. So if you have, everyone talks about the 40,000 contacts that they have in there, or the 12,000, or the 1,000 contacts they have buried in a spreadsheet somewhere. But how? Like which of those do you have an active relationship with, and what value have you given in exchange for that relationship? That's a really interesting point, is that we might think that we have all these relationships that sit in our CRM, but they're not really valuable until there's a relationship there. And one of the pieces of value is something like Home Prezzo. So someone you might have been in contact with that's sitting in your database, that sees something from you, sees a market report or a video of you from Home Prezzo on social media, reaches out, and that's the beginning of your relationship. And then if you're doing a good job, or the restart of your relationship. And if you do a good job, then you'll do things that add value over the lifetime of that relationship. But a lot of what we see with a lot of agents And we have over 1,800 agencies using Rex. What we see is they underinvest in that long-term relationship management. Once transaction's done, the buyer's gone. That's the file closed, and they might get an anniversary message once a year. Yep. And that's a massive lost opportunity. Huge lost opportunity, particularly right now. It was interesting. I was listening to Tom Panos a few weeks ago, and he was saying now's not the time to reap. Now's the time to sow. And how many agents have been investing in their relationships over this period? How many have been talking to people and building up a profile and an engagement strategy with their contacts in their CRMs?
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Like every seller and every buyer that we're working with right now should be a sale in the bank down the track, because of the strength of the relationship that we should have with them, from having delivered amazing service to them in the first place, and then keeping in touch with them by providing them information about the market or just being there for them, and engaging with them at the right level until the time comes that they remember, or until they decide to transact again. But in the meantime, what you've benefited from is them telling all their friends about that they have a good agent that they know. Well, Mark Armstrong from Rate My Agent says the agent with the most relationships wins. And I always thought that was a great quote.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. It's the most connected, valuable relationships, I think, if you...
Absolutely. As a real estate agent, you need to be doing more content marketing. But creating posts for social media, creating videos and reports is hard work, lots of hard work, and it takes time. So that's why you need HomePrezo. If you're a typical agent posting 1 or 2 social media posts a week, HomePrezo can save you between 75 to 100 hours a year. How many more properties could you sell if you had that time back? HomePrezo can help you create engaging, informative videos about how the property market in your local suburb is performing. Plus, it makes creating suburb reports, rental videos for landlords, and social media infographics an absolute piece of cake. If you can type in a suburb or type an address, you can create a Prezo using HomePrezo in just a few minutes. Listeners to the PropTech podcast receive a 14-day free trial. Now that's twice as long as the normal free trial. So go to homeprezo.com.au and click the sign up button and use the code PropTech to get your extended free trial. Or click the link in our show notes. So Anton, how big is Rex now? How many staff have you got? Help us get our brain around this, your organisation.
Yeah, so we have 85 staff. We have a team of 5 that's based in the UK, and then the rest of our team is based here in Brisbane. Probably the mix of our staff, we have 50 or 60% of our headcount is product development. So innovating, creating new product. That's a really, really, really important part of our business, and probably, on a per head basis, we invest a lot more than that head count in our product development. We try and hire the best people, across all of our business, but in particular on the product side. And then we have an amazing customer success team, a marketing team that was instrumental in bringing that Rexopoly training out, a sales and a sales team, and then, a smattering of people in operations.
Fantastic. So work with me here. Let's play a bit of a game. If you were an agent building the perfect digital marketing setup, what would that look like? You'd obviously have Rex at the center of it as your CRM, but then on the digital marketing side, you'd have SiteLoft doing your website, Spoke handling your digital marketing in terms of social side of it. But would you then plug in like an Active Pipe or something like that to do your EDM side? Like to flesh the whole thing out to be the perfect digital marketing solution?
Kylie, you've played the game for me, haven't you?
Sorry. It was a Dorothy Dixer.
That's definitely a leading question. I think I used to be a lawyer, so that would be that would be struck out if you were a prosecutor. God, let me answer that with some nuance. So obviously Rex's platform. So Rex or any CRM, any good CRM that has an open API and the capacity to integrate into tools, you need a platform. And you need a platform that's open. So for us, that would be Rex. Spoke, Add Phoenix, what's the other one? CCT. Whatever it is, Pleasal, if you're kind of after a more tailored solution, any one of those solutions will plug into Rex. The particular fit of each of those solutions is up to you. So we with those digital products, Spoke tends to do pretty well. We did a bit of competitor analysis as part of an exercise that we're going through in the business at the moment, and we don't lose very often to any of those platforms, but Rex is agnostic, and so is Siteloft. Siteloft is agnostic. Siteloft will take feeds from any of the other products. I guess our attitude is, if we want a solution to foot it in the market, then it needs to be the best solution. And if it's not, or if it's not suited to the way that a business operates, then we shouldn't have the business, because it's not right for the customer, or it's not right for or our product's not doing a good enough job as a basic baseline. So Spoke, we have hundreds of different customers on that product, but we see it as a platform solution. But to answer your question, best of breed. Obviously Spoke for digital advertising. Our closest nearest competitor would be AIM on Spoke, by the campaign track guys, but they charge double what we do, so we've got a pretty good edge. But like for like, probably them. ActivePipe definitely on the email side. Compass, the most well-funded, if not necessarily the best real estate agency in the US, uses ActivePipe, and that should be an indication of how good the tech is. Wow. It's expensive, but if you're using it to its full capacity, then it's definitely worthwhile. Rex on the CRM side, Rex. Who else in that market? AgentBox has always done well in the Sydney market for against us. Not so much anywhere else, and certainly now increasingly not on the larger side.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. So, and what do you think the next 5 years holds for the real estate industry? Like, where are we going from here?
What's really interesting, my answer pre-COVID and post-COVID is probably looks fairly different. What's been really interesting to me during COVID is that people actually and also the performance of the industry through COVID. The industry is resilient. People want real estate agents. People want people, particularly when things are uncertain. The market was picking up and everything else was happening just before COVID. But when things are uncertain or things are unclear, absolutely people want people involved in their big decisions. So what we see is in an ideal world is people powered by platforms. So more people, more people time with people, less people spending time on systems. So a lot of the systems we have today rely on input from a user, or an agent, or an administrator, on them taking action. I think increasingly what we'll see on the tech side is platforms like ours kind of waking up to the fact that people are never going to do these things and starting to do some of the job for them. I think we'll see a lot more investment, particularly after this event, a lot more investment in systems training. So Place, one of our customers in Queensland, has seen a huge uptick in engagement with product, in particular Rex, during the crisis. People are engaging with Rex because they can't They can't go out and see people. They can't work the relationships in the same way. So they have to get back into the core discipline of following up. So investment in training, investment in systems training, investment in customizing systems to work the way that an agency works. That kind of thing, I think we'll see. But definitely, that people powered by platforms. So not platforms at the center. And I think that's been the talk for a long time, but definitely platforms that are simpler, that do more of the work, that do more of the heavy lifting, and leave people there to kind of to form and manage their relationships.
Fantastic. And what does the future hold for Rex? What's the next couple of years on your radar?
I mean, look, the next couple of years, scaling Spoke. Spoke is already Spoke is already a dramatically successful product in its own right. But adding and building out further that prospecting, branding piece is going to be a big focus for us. Investing further in Rex, so making sure that Rex is starting to do some of that heavy lifting, and exposing some of the automation capabilities that we've had in the product, for larger businesses to smaller ones. Alfred, like that property management piece is going to be a huge play. So having a product that really effectively covers, both sides of the equation across PM and sales, and ensures that they cooperate together. I think a lot of people have tried it and they're either weak on the property management side or weak on the sales side, and they either fail with their product or they, with one arm or the other, or they kind of limp along over a long period of time. I guess where Rex is a little bit different. We've been working on the property management problem for the last 3 years. We have a pretty good grasp around the domain. And we think, we like to think that we've got a pretty good shot at doing a good job on the PM side. And I think once you do that and you connect the two, you unleash a massive volume of business that's kind of pent up between rentals or between property management and sales. It's a massive opportunity, particularly for some of the agencies that are sitting on, anywhere upwards of 300, 500, 1,500 properties in their rent rolls. That's a massive opportunity. And on the flip side, working the relationships with investors, working the relationship with sophisticated property owners on the sales side, and getting them into the property management funnel, massive opportunity. I think that's going to be a big area of development over the next 2 or 3 years in particular.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, look, Anton, thank you so much for your time. It's been great to hear about all of the things that you're working on, and how kind of Rex is driving this whole sort of digital marketing adoption. And, and I love that idea of the technology empowering the people. Like that's people before platforms. That's great.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks for taking the time.
So that was Anton Babkov from RexLabs, a self-confessed bleeding edge solutions provider for real estate agents that makes it easier for agents to stay connected to their customers and make the most of every lead. Well, I love how RexLabs are truly mobile and how great their UX is, because it does feel really easy to use. Finally, we have a CRM that understands that mobile phones are computers in our pockets, and they're the things that are running our lives. Our phones are not just a complementary add-on to the main game that's happening back on our desktop. What I love most about these podcast interviews is when you get to talk to a guest and suddenly you have a flash of insight into the industry, where we're going and how the dots join together. And that's what happened to me when I was talking to Anton. So thanks, Anton. Now, look, I work in digital marketing in real estate. But for me, the aha moment in this interview was when Anton and I started to discuss what the perfect digital marketing solution looked like for a real estate agent today. Over the past few months, I've been privileged enough to talk with people including Ash Farrugia at ActivePipe, Damien Merchant at Spoke, Peter Brewer, John Hellaby, Tara Christensen, Lara Scott, Ben Stockdale, Val Bourbon, Imi Callister, Nathan Krasansky. These are all people who really know their stuff in their area of digital marketing. But that big picture of how it all comes together specifically for real estate agents and what you need to do as an agent to get all of your marketing working together suddenly clicked for me during this interview. So I'm excited to be going to write a blog about that really shortly. I'll keep you posted. But back to RexLabs. Their approach to an open API and agnostic tech that plays with other players out in the market is really admirable. And at HomePrezo, we've worked with the Rex guys, and I know they're great to collaborate with. And I love their expansion to the UK story. The UK market is largely unexplored for Australian prop tech, and most of our expansion focus is on the US, but there are some really great synergies in terms of how our property markets operate, our legislative environment, and what I'm hearing, the UK market is not as tech savvy as many areas in Australia, so our tech solutions have a lot to offer. Now, if you have enjoyed this episode of the PropTech Podcast, we would love you to tell your friends, drop me a line via email, kylie@realcontent.guru, reach out on LinkedIn or on my Facebook page, and you can follow this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and now Apple iTunes. I'd like to thank my audio support, Charlie Hollins, the wonderful Jill Escudero, and our sponsors, Smidge Wines, proud to be the official wine of Australian PropTech, Direct Connect, making moving connections easy, and HomePrezo, turning your data into amazing marketing content. So thanks everyone. Until next week, keep on PropTeching.